Neil Gowd, and I run the GuestView guide team at Sharp NEC, which is actually two big multinational companies, Sharp Electronics and NEC Display Solutions. So we're a product by that joint venture. Our product is actually a digital concierge that helps guests with elevating the guest experience, streamlining operations to save time, and helping to generate more revenue. And so I think, some of the things that Chet talked about, I think I'm going to focus on a lot of those things. So first of all, I think one of the things that we're seeing for sure, and Paul mentioned it, is that the competition is up, and that there are a lot more listings in the market today. And Paul mentioned that he was seeing that the occupancy was up. We've kind of heard mixed things. So we've definitely heard some people in some markets saying that the occupancy that they're seeing is starting to soften. And one of the things that we really believe is that there are things that you can specifically do to address these. And number one is around differentiation. And so that is just a critical thing in terms of when you look at competition that's out there and the listings, is really looking at how do you differentiate your property from all the other ones. Because yes, when they're looking through that, they're trying to figure out, okay, out of these 100 properties, what's going to make me weed some of these things out? And so helping to figure out the things that really kind of catch their attention is really important. And I think that is not only important in attracting guests, but also in attracting owners and showing that you're doing something different that really helps to elevate their property. The second thing is, making sure that once you get a guest through the door, is that you really impress them. And so that you, give them the information that they need, help make sure that they feel pampered, essentially, so that they're going to have a great experience, leave good reviews, tell people, and come back. And we think that technology is one thing that can really help with that, both in terms of differentiation as well as impressing the guests, because I think technology, whether it's our product or other products in the market, can really help in a scalable way, making sure that you're servicing that customer to the best of your ability, and then kind of dealing with things that you can't automate on a more manual level in face-to-face type of interactions. So I mentioned GuestView Guide, it helps around enhancing the guest experience, saving time, earning more. But I think if you look at it from the different perspective of the different constituents, whether it's the guest, I think, technology there is helping to make them enjoy the property more, so they can get in there, they can figure out what's what, feel at home instantly, and also discover things in the local area that they might not otherwise find. For the owners, that technology is helping in terms of differentiating the property, but also helping to just promote that really good guest experience. And then there's a lot of benefits for property managers that they can get out of technology, whether that is, attracting new owners or driving better reviews, but also things like automating repetitive tasks. That's one of the things that you see with a lot of technology today, is that you can take things that you're doing over and over and really automate those. And Chet mentioned some things about that, about the learnings that they had, and also looking for opportunities to really put value-added services in front of them and in front of those guests, and make their stay even better. And so I think that one of the key things that we've seen is that it's critical that whatever mechanism that you're using, is that you really get the guest to notice what you're doing. So that technology, so it could be sending out reminders or other things to make sure that they know where to find the information. With our product, what we do is we have this large screen, and we have a welcome message, and so that in and of itself a lot of times helps draw people in and makes them curious and want to interact. But the other thing is making them realize that you are the one that's providing that experience. And so using tools to or information that you put in the unit. So we have a welcome video, for instance, that gives you an opportunity to say, hey, welcome to them to the property, tell them a little bit about you, make it feel a little bit personal, and tell them like what they can find on the device. And all those types of things, I think, just help to elevate that experience and make it feel like it's not just a place to stay, right? This is something that like this property manager is there like taking care of me. And I think that those types of little interactions are really critical. And the other thing is just making sure that whatever you're using is that you're making sure that you make it easy for that guest to find the information about the property and the local area. Because the reality is they're walking into these properties a lot of time and they don't really know like how to use things, whether it's the stove or the jacuzzi, and so trying to make that information accessible and easy to navigate is really critical, because ultimately that helps reduce that friction and creates a happier guest and a better experience. But also, like right now, in terms of the labor shortage that a lot of people are seeing right now, this is critical because, like, you want your staff focused on things that are really proactively enhancing the experience or on revenue generating activities and not dealing reactively to a lot of problems that could have easily been headed off just by because they are the same things that are coming up over and over, and just making sure that guest finds that information. And also, I think, the reality is especially with people that are coming from hotels and things today, you have a lot more people that are crossing over from hotels and they're discovering the benefits of vacation rentals. And but they get there sometimes and they haven't planned everything out. And so being able to discover things, about the local area. On our product, we do have features that really help to promote that discovery, or things like local activities, restaurants, and insider tips, right? Because I think you as a property manager, when you think about differentiating yourself, one of the real significant things that you can do is to help them find those hidden gems in the area and explain to them like why to do that. And maybe if you have a partnership with some of those local businesses, is to offer them something special. Maybe if they go to that restaurant, they get a 20% discount off their bill or something, and kind of bringing that information to light is something that can really help make that up level that experience. The other thing is just automating repetitive tasks, as I talked a little bit about earlier, but things like notifications. If you're like calling to remind your guest every week about taking out the garbage, those are things that you don't want to be like spending the valuable time that you have with your staff. You can automate some of those types of tasks using technology, or doing things like making that guest, like if there's a special event going on, maybe there's a holiday parade going on downtown, or maybe it's someone's birthday, right? Those little touches that, like, if you can just put that in the moment that you're taking that reservation, it's their birthday on this date, have something pop up and say, "Happy birthday, Sally," can be really impactful in making that guest feel special. Or other things like checkout, just knowing, those things, and automating things, whether it's the checkout process itself or things that are related to it, like maybe a late checkout or other things like that. So, and the other thing that I would say is around earning more revenue. And I think there are a lot of ways to do that, whether you have your own things that you're offering as a service. And so a lot of people don't always take advantage of charging for late checkouts, but guests a lot of times are ready to pay for that. And especially if they can do that in an easy way, like where I don't even have to call anyone, right? I know that it's $50. I can just click on it and be done with it. That takes friction out of the process for the guest, and they can spend more time enjoying their vacation. Or maybe there's something, like a local spa that you can work with, and because that you're in a town where people take advantage of those types of things. And so you can use this, like the device, to either like take a revenue share, or we have a lot of folks that actually use it for ad revenue where they charge a per unit device. But whatever technology that you use is like really thinking about like finding those things that up level the experience of the guest. And then lastly, what I'll say is, making it easy through end to end through that process. So, on our device, we do take payment and we send that information to the phone. We do that because like we also want to make sure that we respect the privacy of those guests and that they don't feel like they're putting information into the device. So I think that that's a really important thing whenever you select, is that you make sure that that guest feels like they're protected. And then lastly, I think it's important to understand, you know, whatever you try, I think like it's always an evolution, and I think you're going to get better and better in understanding your guests. And so having the information, the analytics is really critical. So when you look at different tools and things that are out there, I think it's important to make sure that those things have a good analytics, and that can help you understand the behaviors and the preferences of your guests. So that's a little bit about our product and just some general information, but we'd love to have you, if you're interested in learning more about GuestView Guide, come to our website. You can sign up for a demo there. And we do have a webinar special going on, which is between now and next Friday. If you purchase a device, which is $40 a month per unit. The shipping is normally $25 for the device, but we're going to waive that for people on this webinar. So that's all I have right now. If there are any other questions, I'm open to those.
Great, Sunil. Thank you very much. I mean, we talked about it earlier when we were practicing, that just the ability to reduce that friction within the first 15 minutes of a guest walking into a unique experience. So the ability to know how to work the thermostat, or you know, where do I find extra towels or linens or anything like that, and having that right there on that friendly screen is it's a lifesaver in terms of the amount of volume of calls that you'll receive, right? And so you're completely taking that friction off the table.
Definitely. I mean, I'm just going to make two quick comments. One is about that. Like, we had a customer just the other day that I was talking to, that they're a small, they have about 50 properties, but they were telling me that on average that they were getting about 12 calls a day about things in their units. Mm-hmm. And when they use this technology, that they were finding that their call volume dropped to like around two calls per day, which is significant because they are now able to go focus on other things, right? And not be dealing with problems. And the guests don't really want to be calling and sitting on the phone for 15 minutes with them either. The other thing is, like you mentioned, we were talking with Chet about, you know, taking care of problems and turning those around. And it's really interesting. It's like we have a few customers that tell us, like, we have a first impression survey, and when the guest walks through the door, one of the first questions we ask them is, what do you think of the place? And if it's like a poor review, we send that through text to the operator, to the property manager. And some of our customers tell us, like, that single thing is the most valuable thing, because it's like, I like the way that someone put this the other day. They said, it's not, you're always going to have problems, but it's what you do about it that makes the difference, whether that person has a positive or a negative experience, right? So yep. Whether you do the right thing and you act fast. So I think, like, I totally agree with what you were saying, Chet, and what you echoed there, Paul.
Yeah. Well, very cool.